Then do all of them together, okay? This is the important bit. And we come up with these lovely chord voicings. So that's me playing just the notes of C major on the B string, starting from this C, on the G string, starting from this G, and on the D string, starting from the D. If we do them together, we get this. So these are the notes of C major arranged in diatonic fourths, okay? So by diatonic, I mean the notes of the major scale. So I'm not just taking the intervals of a perfect fourth and moving them around, okay? That's very important. Otherwise we'd end up with this, which is a lovely sound, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about diatonic fourths. So there it is, right? So those are the notes of, like I said, of the C major scale. And so because of that, they're also the notes of all of the modes that we associate with C major: D Dorian, G Mixolydian, etc., etc. And the reason these chord voicings are so useful and so cool and so common in any jazz, gosh, from the 50s onwards, is they, on their own in isolation, they have quite an ambiguous sound. Like if I play this and put a C in the bass, we can say, okay, that's like a kind of a C add 2 or something like that. But if I put a G in the bass, it's like a G7 sus. If I play an A in the bass, we can say it's like an A minor 11 or something. It's not really clear. Just one on their own perhaps isn't all that clear. But with a bass note, and when we play a bunch of them, we get the overall harmonic context, the overall more of the harmonic picture. So if I play, I'm going to sustain a C using the freeze pedal, and then I play those voicings, we're going to get the complete sound of C major. So we're going to get the C Ionian mode, if you will, C major scale. And at this point, I'm just thinking C major 13, with a natural 11, right? I'm not worried particularly. I'm not worried about anything, apart from the pandemic. But specifically, I'm not worried about what necessarily each of these voicings is in relation to C. I know they're all C major 13, just with some notes omitted. Now, of course, we've got to use our ears. If I play C and a G together like that, and I play this sound, that's going to sound less like a C major chord than this one, for example, that has a C on the top, or this one with the G on the top here. Anyway. So the really cool thing is we can then apply them to all of the modes of C major. So for example, supposing we wanted to create the sound of like a D minor 6, D Dorian vamp, if you will, D minor 6/9, D minor 11. It's all the same thing, really. It's all like the notes of D Dorian just extended out. So I'm going to go D in the bass, sustain that, and I'm going to play the exact same voicings. It sounds totally different to my ears. So that was just creating the overall D Dorian kind of picture. And if all of this kind of talk of modes is upsetting you, fine. Just, it is what it is. Like, the more we can learn about the music, the more of a rounded musician we're going to be. So D Dorian, and when I say that, really, that's just my scale explanation for like D minor 6, and I know I've got the 11th in now, I've got a minor 3rd, I've got a minor 7th. It's just me giving all of that information at once. G Mixolydian, so here this could be like a G7 vamp kind of thing, right? So that kind of sound. So I'm thinking a natural 11, so not a sharp 11. If I again sustain a G in the bass. So I'm not having to learn a bunch of different chord voicings for all these different contexts, right? Super useful. So what I thought we could do today in this lesson, as well as play these over and over again, you can get loads of single note ideas from them as well. I thought we could firstly explore just a couple of different sounds from C major using those voicings that aren't just the obvious ones. So the obvious ones would be just C major, right? And probably D Dorian, we'd be super familiar with that. And this is not to say that there's anything wrong with playing your normal chord voicings, whatever they would be. This is just another option. We still like you, C major 7 grip voicing. But supposing we had, and this is something you'll see in more contemporary jazz, and by contemporary I'm meaning like 60s onwards. Again, this is nothing new. Supposing you saw like an extended A minor flat 13 sort of sound, A minor 9 flat 13. You might see that as a chord symbol. So let's sustain that. A minor, just an A in the bass actually. There it is. And your chord symbol is A minor 9 with a flat 13. So you go, okay, A minor 9 with a flat 13. Put it there. Okay, cool. I've got my voicing and I've got that worked out. And I might just about do it up an octave. Sounds lovely on the Collings. But of course, if we think about the mode that would suggest, A Aeolian, then we can use all of these voicings again. So A in the bass, and we're just going to create. In fact, let's do a loop. Why not? So. Etc., etc., right? So I've created the sound of A minor 9, whatever. But the important thing is I've decided what kind of A minor it is. It's one with a flat 13 or a flat 6, and so I've used these same voicings. Let's try something else. Andrea in Chile, how are you doing? Yes, this is what happens when you hit 40. You can grow a large beard. You have so much to look forward to. E Phrygian. Let's continue with that. Same thing. I'm playing the same voicings, right? My modal set of voicings from C major. Let's go. I'm going to play the same, literally the same shapes. I've not changed them to create an E Phrygian vamp. Etc., etc., right? I will never get bored of doing that. So there, we've taken the notes of a C major scale. Simple. Played them in fourths, and that's created ambiguous little cells that we can say played on their own. It's not really clear what they are. So I should look at the camera, shouldn't I? You're the camera. Played on their own, it's not necessarily clear what they are. but the context, the bass note, what's happened before, and then what we play next will create the sound. And in jazz, we like these more ambiguous sounds. We don't just want to go like that. Sometimes we do. I once played a G chord in a jazz club. It was lovely. So what else did I think we could talk about? Oh, this is quite a nice little thing. So we could move between two different tonalities as well to create a different sound over a vamp. So let's take these the same shapes, and we're going to play them over a G. Okay, so that's telling us already we know what that is. That's a G7. And of course, we can use the normal voicings that we love and play all the time, and we can put in our normal language. This is just a little bit of extra cayenne pepper on the cornflakes. But supposing we wanted to oscillate between two different tonalities over a vamp. So supposing we wanted to go like G Mixolydian, which is just G7, very pure sound, with a natural 11, right? Because it's got a C natural in it. Supposing we wanted to go between that and G Phrygian, okay? So we just got to do a little bit of mental moving around. We've got to go, okay, so G Phrygian, that belongs to E flat major. That's the third mode of E flat major. And if we do that, all we got to do is move our shapes into E flat major now. And actually for us on the guitar, of course, that's not so hard. We just literally move the shapes up a minor third in this case. So to do this, and this, if you're watching this not streaming, maybe this is a moment just to pause it and just work these out. We just take the same voicings that we played before, right? And we do them in E flat major now. Simple as that. Sorry. So we do the same voicings in E flat major, right? Because that, with the G in the bass, is going to give us G Phrygian, okay? That's not really hard, is it? That's the mental leap you've got to make. So let me demonstrate that. It's a lot of talking. I do apologize. So G in the bass. It's almost in time. So I'm going to go the first slot in C major. So that's giving my Mixolydian sounds. And then if I do the E flat voicings, because I've still got my G in the bass, I'm now going to be playing G Phrygian, right? So we get this sound, very different sound over quite a jolly vamp. And now I'll go back to mix. Lydian. And up to there, Phrygian. Back down. So that's the idea. So I'm just using these same voicings and moving them around. And obviously it's up to you. You should experiment with that. Keep the bass note the same, but just change the overall. I mean, what we're doing here is we're changing the key signature. Okay, and with my teaching with my students, I am really super hot on them just being more than anything super strong and understanding the major scale, right? How that fits together, because if we understand the major scale and we want to melodic minorize, for example, what we've just done, all we have to do is take these, for example, and find the C's and turn them into C sharps, and then we've got D melodic minor. We've got a bunch of voicings that would work over G7 sharp 11, or whatever, any of the modes from D melodic minor. If we wanted to sort of harmonic minorize them, we just have to do the same thing on A and take the G and make it G sharp, and we get really lovely sounds actually. Anyway, that's another lesson for another day. So one more thing I want to do, and this isn't hard and is quite a good introduction into this world as well, is to play, and we're not going to go into too much theory with this, but literally just take the diminished scale and play that in fourths as well, because it's easy. So this one, which you know and love, because that's also in C major, right? There it is. And then the next shape that we're going to need is here, 5, 6, 6. Okay, so this is the G7. This is like G half whole. This is like the G13 flat 9 diminished scale, right? That one. So G13 kind of shape, and then this one, and that's it. Because the diminished scale is symmetrical, all we have to do is move that little set of voicings around in minor third. So there's one set, and then we're upper minor third. We get that, which is really useful and not hard to play. Yay! It kind of looks quite cool. Yeah. You get really weird sounds if you stick that down the octave as well. Woo-hoo. Anyway, perhaps that's for another day as well. So what we're going to do is we are, again, thinking in terms of like a extended G7 vamp. I'm only doing vamps today because that's easier for teaching. This is all totally relevant to changes playing. So let's do that. Let's go 4 bars of G Mixolydian, so your nice standard lovely G7 sound, and then 4 bars of, again, in terms of when I see a chord symbol, I think, okay, this is a shortcut. This is the composer saying we're in this harmonic. Sometimes they'll be very specific and they'll say this is the voicing you should play, but often for me personally, and this is what I've been taught, is that a chord symbol is often just a shortcut into a world of harmony. So for example, if I see G13 flat 9, that tells me I'm in diminished scale land, as opposed to only play the notes of G13 flat 9. Maybe that's why composers don't like me. And let's go boom, boom, boom. Let's go G mix, so G7 with a natural 11. And then let's go into 13 flat 9. You can use the same shape, of course, to toggle between the two, right? Crunchy. And then back. And then up to diminished land. Crunchy again. And then back. Yeah, so that's the idea. Ron, I have a question from Ron. Do you let quartal voicings affect your solo playing, like hitting the chord tones of those? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And for solo guitar playing, again, we get stuck in the same chord voicings. And this is one of these sorts of shapes. I remember working out when I was about 17 and I thought I'd invented something. And then I found out that much later that everyone else does them. But yeah, in terms of solo playing, absolutely, it's all part of the same language. So if I'm playing, I'll intersperse them in with my non-quartal voicings, as it were. I think by now it's all become just part of my language. So if I was playing like, I think they sound great. I mean, piano players use them, don't they? Interspersed in between your lines. So if I'm playing, so there's like a mixture of those sorts of things. Absolutely. Those quartal voicings. I mean, this we could go on for hours, couldn't we, with quartal voicings? Listen to McCoy Tyner. In terms of guitar players that I think of with this sort of sound, I mean, like I say, kind of anybody, really. I mean, Jim Hall plays this sort of stuff. Again, this is nothing new. Check out Adam Rogers. Check out Adam Rogers anyway. It's everyone, isn't it? But the modal playing of McCoy Tyner, the way he backs Coltrane, just listen to that. Once you start to feel like you've got these major scale things under your fingers, have a go at comping along with like a so what sort of groove. And the nice thing is we can use them to play some quite angular and weird, like sort of parallel things. So if you land on a voicing you like, you can then shift that in seconds, in thirds, and fourths, or whatever, and it will sound really cool. Etc. Right? You've heard people do that aren't me. Right, I'm going to go and have a late lunch. So I'm going to do this more often. I'll say more often. This is the first time I've ever done it. I'm going to do this again. If you have enjoyed this, give me a subscribe. That's all I ask. And if you want to get in touch and have some lessons from me, best way to do it is through my website, samdunguitarist.co.uk. There's a contact form there, and I'm going to start doing some more of these kind of things. So yeah, that's it. Hope everyone is well. Simon Mark Taylor, nice to see you on here. A year ago I was with you in Valencia, wasn't I? Jimmy's was a year ago last night. Jimmy Glass, amazing. Can't do that sort of thing anymore. Brexit and COVID, who would have thought it? Right, everybody, keep well, and I will attempt to do one of these again, and I might even let you know beforehand instead of just doing it. This is actually quite new for me, trying out my streaming software and all that sort of stuff. Bye for now. The Stegosaurus of Dreams says goodbye. There he is. Don't be a dinosaur. Get quartal playing under your fingers. I'm going to work out to turn this off. Oh, end stream. All right. Bye for now.